So how's everybody doing? I don't have a whole lot of time to film this. This is going to be a really short video. I don't think the Texas Senate race is worth talking about. In the sense that I don't think there's no question to me who's going to win the race. I don't think it's something that needs to be covered. I do want to cover the challenger candidate. I think it's pronounced Beto O'Rourke. And I want to talk a little bit about the coverage he's been getting because I think that is more interesting. I don't think he has a chance in hell of winning this race. I wouldn't be surprised to see him be a 2020 presidential candidate. We'll just put it like that. So this was mostly inspired by me reading this Daily Intelligencer article, which, for those of you who don't know, is it's like a division, I guess you would say, of New York Magazine. This article regarding this race today, kind of in my research for one of my other videos, this just came up in the search history, and I wanted to take a look at it because it had a pretty good clickbaity headline that I thought was interesting. Wasn't accurate when you actually read the article, but it was a good piece of clickbait. We'll just put it like that. So here's the thing, right? This guy is running a race in Texas that he doesn't really stand much of a chance to win, solely based on the demographics for the place that he's running, and the fact that the Democratic Party is not particularly spending a whole ton of money to get this guy elected because their money is much better spent in races where they have a chance. Now, there is some conjecture by the author of this article, Eric Levitz, that part of this coverage that he is getting is in a bid to inspire the Democratic Party to start funneling more money towards his campaign. I don't think that's the case. This guy is getting some really very unique media coverage, being described in such ways as a resistance hero. And in this article, it points out that for the first time ever this week, a major pollster found O'Rourke leading Cruz, but goes on to explain a little bit of wizardry going on with that calculation. That this pollster, I think that's not even a good way to explain what they are. Cook Political Report does not base its forecasts primarily on public polls. Rather, the reputable election prognosticator rates races on the basis of its conversations with strategists in both parties. The whole reason that polls are used to estimate the outcome of elections is that it's a quantifiable thing. I can't go and talk to campaign advisors in two different candidates' campaigns and go, this one here, he seems 8 points more confident to me than that one over there, and therefore I'm going to tabulate 8 points onto his candidate's ratings. It doesn't work that way. It's not a quantifiable thing. That's why it's not used. It's entirely opinion based. I'm not even going to go into all the ways that can skew. The point of the report is that if we actually look at public polls, Cruz still has a fairly decent 4.5% average lead. And don't get me wrong, that's impressive on the part of O'Rourke. It absolutely is. He is in a state that should lean way, way more towards the right. I would expect to see Cruz with a 10-point lead, not a 4.5-point lead. But Cruz isn't a very popular candidate to begin with. Cruz does not have a super high approval rating. Trump kind of shot Cruz to pieces in the 2016 Republican primary. His reputation is not the best to begin with. O'Rourke's reputation, on the other hand, is now that he is this anti-establishment resistance leader, like I said, and then he's putting up this heroic fight in a campaign that he can't win, right? And that he is garnering all of this support from liberals and from independents alike, and that he has refused to take money from PACs, which, for any of you who watched my campaign finance discussion, you may know that that's not really as incredible as it seems, because giving money to candidates is not the primary way that PACs fund a campaign. But there are pictures circulating of this guy when he was in a band, and, you know, he's being held up as this very, like, super suave, super heroic, awesome, kind of globally supportable candidate. The exact type of candidate that you would want to run against somebody like Donald Trump. And he has a decent image for it. He is a fairly, you know, good-looking guy, and like I said, he's got that good, like, that history of that kind of rock and roller, cool, hip image, and even the selection of his name, Beto, which is it's a Hispanic, like, nickname for referring to somebody named Robert, which, in all likelihood, to me, it seems like on the surface that would make him seem a little less professional than using his real name, but in reality, it kind of makes him more identifiable, because it's not a commonly heard name in America. Like, it's not a commonly used nickname like Bob would be, or Rob, that would kind of just be lost in the background. And it also kind of, I think, might go a certain way to endearing him to the Hispanic voting population, who already don't tend to like Trump, and who make up, from, depending on where you look, like 9 to 10% of the voter base in U.S. elections. So here's the point. Here's what I'm getting to. I don't think that Beto O'Rourke thinks that, for some reason that's really hard for me to say, by the way, his first and last name together. I don't think that he thinks he's going to win this Senate race. I don't think he's trying to win this Senate race. I think that even if he does win this Senate race, he will hold the seat for exactly 2 years, because I think that he is setting up, or at least feeling out, his potential as a presidential candidate. That's kind of how I read this. That's kind of how I read into the way that his campaign is handling him. I think that's the image that he's trying to project, and I think he's doing a pretty good job. The first thing that popped out to me when I looked into this guy is that he is a presidential candidate. He is material for the presidential candidate, and even if we don't see him actually take the nomination, because, let's face it, the Democratic Party hasn't done the best job recently of selecting the best possible presidential candidate for their ability to win a race, I think that we will definitely see him in the Democratic primaries. So let's see where that goes, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Don't forget to like and subscribe and all that. Peace.